Hello, hello, hello. Hey. Thank you so much for
Hi.
tuning in to the Setup Show, Smile, Empowered, Thrive, where we talk to a number of entrepreneurs and multi-passionates about the things that they're doing to help bring not only a smile to their face, but to others, to empower others to do better, do more, as well as what empowered them to move along the journey that they are and how they chose to thrive. And it's so funny that we talk about how you choose to thrive. And today we've got an amazing entrepreneur, and we're going to be talking about choosing today. So look, we can't even make up this divine orchestration. We really just cannot. I sometimes think, man, how is it that I just found these people? I didn't. They were sent to me. So I'm super excited. So I definitely want to welcome you to the show. This is our, what is it, our fourth episode, our fourth week. So we're super excited. And I definitely want to thank our guest for today, Miss Anita Shaw, for coming in and being a part of this with us. And before we introduce her, we're going to do our affirmation of the day. So, we've got this amazing, we got amazing affirmations. And for those of you that are not familiar, we've got the Mirror Affirmations book. It's a 21-day reflections journal. We'll have the link in the bio or in the description of where you can get this book. But we go through an affirmation in this book every week. And so I literally just choose one at random to see what happens and which one comes out. It feels almost like shuffling and just opening one up, and it's like, woo, what are we gonna get? What's gonna happen? So for today's affirmation is, I am not fearless, but I am unstoppable. Oh my God. I am not fearless, but I am unstoppable. Listen, a lot of people, being fearless is such a buzzword lately. Everybody wants to be fearless. Everybody wants to quote scriptures about being fearless, wants to quote different gurus about being fearless, and then wonder why, when they're trying to do something, when they're trying to work on something in their lives, they're always afraid and stuck and can't move forward. And I believe that for most people, it's not about being fearless, because being fearless sometimes is not necessarily the truth of where you are. Sometimes you are afraid. Sometimes you are looking at something and going, it's unknown, so I have a little apprehension about moving forward in it. I've got a little concern about the direction that I'm going in. But the trick to all of that is to be empowered within yourself to just keep going. I laugh all the time. I tell clients of mine all the time, I said, listen, do me a favor, put fear in the trunk. Tell fear, listen, I know you want to come for the ride, so come on. You get to come for the ride. But you're going to have to ride in the trunk, because what you can't do is be in the passenger seat trying to take the wheel and drive. What you can't do is be in the back seat with all that womp, womp, womp in the back of my ear, backseat driving. So if you want to go, you're going to have to get in the trunk. I know you're coming anyway. I know I don't want you jumping out in the middle of the street so that I have to run over you and ruin my day. So get in the trunk and let's go. And take fear with you. Use the fact that fear wants to hit your ride and wants to be a part, and keep going, keep moving. So it's fine to have a little bit of fear, but it's not fine to allow fear or anything else to stop you in your tracks from moving forward. So today's affirmation again, I am not fearless, but I am unstoppable. So you guys, let me tell you, we are excited today. Excited. Oh my goodness. We are so excited to introduce our next guest, Miss Anita Shaw. I need to have like some, we're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on getting some kind of like applaud track, like have the crowd.
Right. Right. I am so excited to be here today, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Awesome.
I am just elated to finally get to talk with you because you just empower so many people on so many different levels, and your smile is infectious. So I'm excited
Thank
about being here
you.
and talking with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now let's tell the people about Miss Anita Shaw because listen, when I got her bio, I was reading it going, you know, there are some amazing people out in this world that do some amazing things and and I've been having conversations a lot recently about when we were in school and they would tell us there are only like one or two paths that you can choose in to have a career. And I've been meeting people that are in so many different career fields that do so many different things, and it's been refreshing to kind of say, hey folks, y'all need to see these people because these are areas of expertise, these are businesses, these are things that a lot of times we don't even know that this is a thing, you know.
Right, right.
Let me tell the people about you because I was just sitting here going, oh my goodness. So, Miss Anita Shaw is a disability examiner for vocational rehabilitation. Yes, we're going to talk to her about what does this even mean? Okay, come on. And I was
Right.
like, oh, wow. Okay. She's a minister and an author. Anita and her husband Tyrone have three beautiful children, Amir, Abigail, and Alana. They currently live in Charleston, South Carolina. Anita graduated in 2007 from Charleston Southern University with the Bachelor of Science in Psychology and Sociology. Listen, guys, we got some people that do some things up around here, okay? In 2012, she graduated from Capella University with a Master's of Science in Human Services with a concentration in counseling studies. She's worked in the human service field for 11 years for the state of South Carolina. She loves spending time with her family, writing, traveling, and most importantly, she loves God. Being a published author has been her dream since she was a little girl, and she hopes that her words inspire and encourage. Her first book is While I Wait, My Journey Through Infertility. Her second book was released January 2020, called I Choose. Listen, you guys, I already said it. Let me say it again. I'm so excited to be talking with Miss Anita Shaw. Like again, I want the applause track. I want it. Like, oh my goodness. So, so let me just say this. Um, like I said, when I was reading your bio, the first thing was I'm a Googler, I'm a researcher. I will look up things. I was that kid reading a book and there would be a big word and I'd write it down and go find the dictionary and be like, what does this word mean? What is this? Right? So for those kids out here that are Googling, tell us what is a disability examiner for vocational rehabilitation?
Right. And so vocational rehabilitation is just the umbrella that we fall under. So that's the state portion of it. But we also work for Social Security, so federal and state. And so that's just an umbrella. But our agency, the disability portion of it, what we do is make disability determinations. So let's just say you get hurt, you can no longer work for some reason or another, or maybe you were born with something and you can't work for some reason or another, and you apply with Social Security to try to get your disability. I am the person your application ends up coming to, and I have to look at your medical records. I have to consult with our doctors here in our office. We have a litany of psychologists and MDs in our office that we consult with to try to come up with a determination to see if you are disabled or not. If we find that you are disabled, we send our information, our decision back to the Social Security office, and then you get a check.
And everyone likes to get the check,
Everybody likes to get
right?
the check. Yeah.
Everybody likes the check.
So,
But that
long
is
story
so
short,
interesting.
yeah.
That is so interesting because I think a lot of times we have a disconnect about the processes, a disconnect about kind of the flow of how all of that should go or how all of that does
Right.
go. So I'm sure you get a lot of people that come into your office or they come into different components of that department like, where's my money? And sending emails
Right.
and phone calls, and they don't understand that there are a lot of levels and steps
Level.
to this.
Yes. Yes, they
So,
do.
so
Yes.
yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, because I'm telling you, when I read that, I was like,
I know. It sounds complicated. And to an extent, it really is because we're literally looking at medical records all day long, trying to figure out you could have gotten hurt. You could have gone to 10 different doctors, specialists, all these different people. I have to look at all these things and make some kind of determination on where you are, what is going to be your process. Are you going to be able to heal enough to go back to work and make that decision along with some doctors? So.
wow, wow. And see that's the kind of stuff that even for those that are that I say this all the time. Everybody is not an entrepreneur, but everybody has something, some purpose, something that they have to give. Which is why, when I talk about even for this show or even for how I serve, it's entrepreneurs and multi-passionates, because some people, they don't necessarily want to be an entrepreneur, but they've got other passions and other things that they have to bring to the world,
Right,
right?
right, right,
Um, and what people tend to disconnect, I think, right now is the fact that there's a lot of stuff out there and it's been out there for years. Everybody's got to be an entrepreneur. Well, everybody doesn't want to do all the background stuff, and aside from that, everyone's purpose isn't go run a business, be a coach, whatever it is.
right,
Because if every doctor decided they want to be an entrepreneur,
right.
lawyers
What will we
decided
do?
they want to be an entrepreneur, if every EMT wanted to be an entrepreneur, there are some. If everyone that was designed to walk through this auditing process of disability assistance decided they wanted to be an entrepreneur and not live within the purpose that they were designed to help in, there would be so many holes and gaps.
Right,
And so sometimes I believe the beauty of seeing some of these different vocations, some of these different careers, is that even for entrepreneurs that, can take a look and say, you know what, that actually might be something that I would like to do. That actually might be something that aligns more with my purpose than what I'm doing right now. And I believe that for me personally, when I deal with mindset and talking about, just really going a little deeper within so that you can find the truth of what you're designed to do and who you're designed to be and how you're designed to show up, and getting in alignment with that. I think a lot of times I love having conversations with people where they look and go, you know, maybe this isn't the thing I'm supposed to do. So now I've got to dig a little deeper and ask some more questions and find out if I'm aligned to help in a different way. If I'm designed to kind of be truthful about how maybe this entrepreneur journey isn't working.
right, right, right,
Because there are a lot of people out here that are saying that they're, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm doing this amazing stuff, right?
right,
And when you turn off the cameras, you turn off the Facebook posts or social media posts, they're sitting back
right.
going, I have not made 50 cents this month, you know? Oh God.
Right,
And so sometimes that means for them, I believe, being surrounded by people that are doing things that maybe they never thought about,
right,
you know, because like I was saying in the very beginning, I remember in school, it was, well, the trending jobs are, and you need to have this degree to do it. And so everybody was going to get a business admin degree. Everybody was going to get, some sort of degree in an area that, accounting degree, things that they didn't really care about, didn't really like. And then
Right.
they were jumping back, going, I don't even want to do this. I don't
Everybody got Sally Mae on them for no reason.
for no reason. It's like you could have gone and got an underwater basket weaving degree and still done what you're doing now. Not for you, but for other people. They could have done that and done what they're doing now, because it's in no way aligned with why they're paying Sally Mae
Right.
and why they're frustrated every day paying Sally Mae. So I, like I said, I was excited when I read that, because I was like, okay, this is great. This is a job or a career that most people don't know about. Most people don't
Right.
know that this is out there as an option, and maybe
Right.
even think about the fact that there's a whole world of things that have to be done with disability work that
Right.
you could go, and for those that are like, my initial degree plan was psychology. And I met someone that had a nervous breakdown while we were in college, and I went, no, no, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go that way, right?
Right. Right.
But I think, had I known that there were different levels, it wasn't just about sitting in the room with people. There are other things in the sphere of psychology that need to still be done to
Right.
engage with people. And so it's like, people need to still know that. They need to know there are other things out there. There are other options out there. So let me ask you this. What made you go down that path?
Well, so I did human services and I was fresh out of college. And like you said, we're not taught about what the possibilities are. And so you see these big jobs we always talk about in school. Oh, you can be a lawyer, you can be a doctor, you can be a police officer. You see these big titles, and a lot of times all of the smaller things no one talks about. And then you frown down on things like working at the Walmart or working at fast food and things of that nature. And honestly, when we were growing up, there was nothing in between. There were no whole bunch of black businesses or people writing books that you knew of that lived down the street or that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
so we don't put those options out there. And so when I got to college, I just thought, I want to help people. This is what I want to do. I have to figure out how I'm going to be able to do that. And while I was in college, I actually worked with autistic children. I have a sister that has intellectual disability, and she also has cerebral palsy. And so I always just had a heart for people that had disabilities. And so when I was in college, I worked with those children. Most of my throughout college, I did that. And so whenever I was done, I said, well, what are you going to do next? And it had to be helping people. I knew that I may not have made a lot of money in this career, but I knew that going in. But I knew that it was something I wanted to put my stamp in the world. And that's how I was going to do it. And so I initially just applied for some state jobs, and I ended up working for Medicaid for 7 years.
Wow.
And so that's not a job that I would even have thought about. And it's categorized as human services, a human service coordinator. And so, again, not a job that they teach you about in school. And so when I started doing that, I found that I was good at it. I liked it, and it definitely helped a lot of people. There's a great need in the community to get health care, and we need people to do that. And while it's not a glamorous job or a job that you're going to get thanked a lot for or get a lot of money for, it was a job that was a need in the community. So I knew that I was making a difference. And so I went on from there to after my 7 years to be a disability examiner. Again, not a job you hear about, but I had a girl who used to work, one of my friends who used to work for Medicaid, she went on that side and she said, hey, I think this would be something you would like. You were good at this job. I think you'll be good at this job. Her name was Rachel. And she ended up kind of guiding me into that world. And it was a lot different than what I was doing. But again, there's a big need for it. Like people need to go into this field. We need people to make these type of determinations. Like you said, everybody can't, own a business. Everybody can't be a police officer, a doctor, or a lawyer. So we need people in this field to definitely go out and to do these types of human services jobs.
Yeah. And see that is so good, because even when you talked about, okay, sometimes these jobs are not the glamorous jobs. They're not going to go make you $1 million in a day. The funnier thing about that is a lot of times the things that people have settled on aren't going to make them $1 million in a day.
Right. Right.
And they're not in alignment with their purpose. So you've got the I'm not making money on top of I hate it here.
Right. Right.
So when that happens, or you got the stress of now you are out of alignment doing something that literally does not make you smile. It does not make you
Right.
happy in any sense of the word. You cannot wake up every day and if something is going wrong at the job or in the business, they're sitting back going, but I hate it here. Nothing about this makes me happy.
Right.
Makes me, feel like I'm contributing in any way. And this is the funny. When you're fully in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing and how you're supposed to give back and how you're supposed to serve, it does make you smile. Because I know people, like you said, that there were no middle ground from either you're doing this up here or you're doing what is considered lower level. I know people that worked at Walmart,
Right.
but they were doing something they loved. They enjoyed
Right.
meeting people every day. They enjoyed, doing the transactions and all, like everything about what they did there, no matter how frustrating it got to be sometimes that you had a line to the east meets the west, no matter how frustrating, they would have other coworkers talking about, oh, well, they're doing this and this and this. And they were like, oh, really? Okay. But they enjoyed what they were doing so much so that you couldn't have told her to do anything else.
Right.
Loved it. Where, she knew she had coworkers that were just like, I hate it here. And she's like, well, why are you still here? This is a great place to be,
Right.
And so, and we had a conversation at one point where, she said, well, I don't understand why people think that I shouldn't be doing this. And I was like, you should be doing whatever is working for you. If you're receiving the reward and the benefit of being there and it's feeding your soul, why would you not be there? And so I believe that even in the things that you're doing, it's amazing that kind of directed you. It is what it really seems like. It's kind of, again, that divine orchestration where you're like, okay, God, what are we doing now? Oh, you know what? I've got another plan for you. I've got more things for you to do. And you still have the opportunity to shine in another area, right? You have the opportunity to give back in the way that you're supposed to. And now here you are, a double author. What? How amazing is that? So what was it that we know what took you down the path of being the disabilities examiner? What took you down the path of deciding choosing, dare I say, choosing
Right.
to become an author? Like what was it when you said, you know what, I'm gonna, because the first book is very personal, and
Right.
to be something that was, you know, there was something that you said that again, it was a setup. Something brought that you were either going to help yourself smile or you were going to help somebody else smile. You were
Right.
empowered you to do it, and you used this book to empower others, and it was a choice. It was a choice to thrive. So what made you say, I'm going to write this book about my journey through infertility and share all of this stuff that generally would be kind of a very private situation, very private conversation, but I feel like other people have to hear this. What was that conversation with Anita? Right?
Right, right. So I have always been a writer. I have always been a journaler, right? That's how you start out. You in elementary school, you're always journaling. So I was always a journaler. I would
Mhm.
always write poems. And I knew in elementary school, I want to be an author. When I grow up, I'm gonna be an author. I'm gonna author something. I'm gonna write a book. I always made that a goal, a life goal. So early on, I already knew I wanted to do that. When I was going through my infertility process, I had no idea that at the end of it, it was gonna end up being a book. Um, but the thing was, the more, because it's a very hush hush topic, right? It's a
Yeah.
very hush hush thing. Nobody wants to talk about it. So many people are dealing with it, and I began to tell my story, of course, first to friends, close family members. Once I started to open up, and then I would just be at Bilo, like telling the story after I got through some of the process, and I will be sharing, and people were like, oh yeah, I could never have kids, or my girlfriend is going through this right now, she's been trying to have a baby for 2 years, or everybody knew somebody or was that somebody that had a problem. And I realized, okay, nobody's talking about it. I've never heard of anybody else that had an infertility problem but me. Nobody in my family's had it. Everybody can have kids, popping babies out left and right. I mean, if you breathe on them too hard, something
There's a
will happen.
right. Right.
So,
You were like, they took that fruit, be fruitful and multiply to the
right, right. And somehow it skipped me. And so I began to talk about it more. People began to kind of be drawn to that story. And so I said, okay, I cannot be going through this hard journey for no reason. It has to be for something bigger than myself. Because I have been going through this for too long. This is too hard. This has cost too much money. This is a lot of stuff. And so I think one person asked me randomly, and I said, you know what? I have to put this out for the masses. And as I had no clue that this would be my first book at all, it was never my intention, but I felt God led. And I felt like this story needed to get out. And especially in the African American community where we don't talk about infertility.
we
So
do.
I felt like this needed to be addressed. And, if it took me having to put all of my stuff out on Front Street, then I had to do it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good because I think that with a number of things, there's such a stigma around it, or that don't happen to our people kind of thing, where, whether it's mental health, whether it is infertility, like you don't see, not until recently, you don't see a lot of people that are actually having these conversations, right? They're not having these conversations. So
Right.
I think that the fact that you decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there, because when I needed someone to have these conversations with me to tell me that, listen, you're not the only one in the family, because even since then, you've probably found other family members that were like,
Right.
I struggled. I remember having
Right.
a conversation with a friend of mine about fibroids in her family. And it wasn't until she was going through like her third surgery that she literally said, this is crazy. And let me warn my people, let me warn my family that this is something that we probably could have a genetic thing. And so literally she
Right.
go tell her family, and they were like, oh yeah, that's why so and so doesn't have kids. And oh yeah, it such and such, you remember she had da 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 da, and they're going through, and she's like, I remembered situations with people, but there was never conversation about this is why. And here's what happened, and here she was thinking at such a young age, making the decision to, do these surgeries and do this particular tract of care. It was for her very isolating until finally she was like, let me tell somebody else. And then all of a sudden, everybody was like, oh yeah, oh okay. I When I wrote my first book about dealing with depression, there were some things that I was sitting there having a knockdown, drag out conversation with God going, we're not going to share that, okay? We're just not. And those were the very things that people in my family came, and not even my immediate family, like cousins that I hadn't talked to in a while, and they were messaging me on Facebook, I got your book, and oh my God. It wasn't the same thing, but I know that feeling. And I'm sitting here going, the things we don't talk about, the things that, what happens in this house stays in this house. I'm so ashamed of going through this thing that I don't believe other people are going through. And so I definitely want to applaud you on the fact that you said, hey, I've got, I know if I'm going through this and this was hard, somebody else needs to know about this. And so I am going to go ahead and put this journey out. Now, you've got a new book that just came out called
Yes.
I Me. And I can't look. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to grab this one because this book, just the title of it has me like, yes, yes, everybody needs to get this book because so many of us don't choose ourselves. And we've been taught, along with these other stigmas, this mental health stigma, the infertility stigma, the having conversations stigma around that. There's also a stigma connected to being selfish or doing for yourself, making the choice of yourself. So what was the thing that empowered you to say, you know what, I got another book in me, and I'm gonna talk about it.
Right. Again, not planned at all. I totally had something else figured out for my second book, but this is what God told me was the next book. And so fast forward through the infertility stuff. Now I have 3 children, a husband, a full-time job. I'm doing ministry. I'm doing all these things. I'm a friend, I'm a sister, I'm a, daughter. I'm dedicated to all these different people. And I looked around one day and I breastfed my all of my children. And so my last daughter, and if you know anything about breastfeeding, it is around the clock. You are constantly on a schedule. You constantly have to be around that pump when it's time. All right, every 3 hours I'm going. And honest to God, people just don't understand what that life is like, having to be on that clock, and you're already stressed out by everything else that's going on with the kids and all this stuff. Everybody's demanding your time. And so one day, I had the opportunity to do something for myself and I didn't take it. And I had to sit and reflect on, well, why wouldn't you go? You have the free time, you have the opportunity. You don't get opportunities very often, so why would you not go? I noticed that my husband would take time out to go out with his friends, or he would go to the gym, or go out and get out and do something. He go ride. He likes to ride motorcycles. Go ride his motorcycle. And I thought, oh no, I'm good. But are you this? Are you
Are you
good?
but are you really?
Right. And so one day I had a free day. And I decided, okay, what do you want to do with all this free time? So I wrote down a list of things I wanted to do, and I began to do those things. And then in that reflection time, I said, you know what? This is what you should be doing all the time. Why are you not taking some more moments for yourself? Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You already done the job thing. You already did the parent thing today. You already did the wife thing today. Like, why is it not okay for you to have some time for yourself? And so I had to just start reflecting more on who I was, what I wanted, what my goals were. Now that I've accomplished, childbearing, these three kids and doing all this stuff. And while they're still kids, I get that I am still a person. I am still a woman. And I was me before I was any of these things, any of these titles. And so I had to begin to do just some self reflection. And in that, I began to write. And I said, you know what? I got friends that's going through the same thing. I got family members that's going through the same thing. Like, why are we not going to the doctor when we need to? Why are we not, going out when we get an opportunity? Why are we not buying that purse that we want, or, those shoes that we want, because we want to do everything for everybody else? And I just noticed that there was a pattern, especially among women.
Yes.
Women are the first partakers of not taking care of themselves and taking care of everybody else. And so I began to notice that pattern amongst everybody else. And I say, you know what? There's a need. Let me go ahead and get this out there.
Yeah. And that's good because you're so right. Women will make sure that everybody in the house goes to the doctor. They'll beat their husband upside the head. I'm making your appointment anyway. And you
Right.
make sure your kid coughs just like one time and you made the appointment with their pediatrician, but you could have aches and pains and your joints are stiff and you got all kinds of other things happening with your body that are not right. I know women that will walk around for 4 and 5 days with a migraine and like unrelenting migraine, like literally 5 days of migraine, and take every medicine in the history of taking medicine. And it's like, but did you go back to the doctor? No, I don't have
Right.
to make an appointment. But if you either stroke out or, something else, heaven forbid, is deeper and more wrong, you
Right.
take care of everybody else when you are not here. And so I love that these are themes that you talk about in this book because, like you said, you just something as simple as you had an opportunity to go somewhere with and do something, and you went, I mean, at this time, but but if something comes up, I need to be here. What is that a thing? What? And it was funny because I was actually watching um that show, This Is Us. And I don't like I have like 3 shows that I actually watch. Otherwise I'm like, I'm off TV. I can't. But
Right.
I've loved that show, has held my interest for however many years it's been on. And one of the more recent, it wasn't the most recent, it was one of the other episodes, I think a week ago or something like that, where the 3 main characters, the siblings wanted to, everybody was dealing with something. Everybody's, got massive things happening. And they wanted to, the 3 of them go to the family cabin. And the sister has a small special needs baby. And her husband has been very kind of hands off, and this whole thing is just he's not been able to fully connect, right? And so when she decided she was going on this trip with her brothers, and he said, we'll leave the baby with me, and she's like, no. And she's like, you don't know how to take care of him. You don't. Now again, her stress level, dealing with her child, dealing with her husband that doesn't know how to care for her child, hasn't been really engaged, just up to here. She knows that her brothers are dealing with all their stuff and all their junk. She has just found out some new things from their mom, so she's piled on. And now you want to take a special needs baby out into the wilderness because you don't
Right.
You know, you want to, you're already here. But, and so he's like, Jess, I need time. I want to do this. I need to spend time with my son. And it took her a whole lot to be like, okay, but you need to message me all the time, and I need to talk to him, and I need to FaceTime him every night. And, you know, and it's like, that is us. That,
Right.
that, that is us. Haha. But, but literally, for a lot of women, that is our life. Like, we could have so many things piled up on top of us. And even when it's time for us to take a break, and I've seen this so many times, it's time for you to take a vacation. And instead of going off somewhere with your girlfriends or by yourself, you decide to book a family vacation. Well, it's still vacation, but it's not.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. So I know that some of the things that you talk about in the book are making time for yourself. So how does, without giving away the steps and tips that you give in the book, because listen, people need to go buy the book, okay? So what is maybe one thing that needs to happen, whether it's a mindset thing or an actual stop and plan? What is something that needs to happen so that we are empowered to make time for ourselves?
I think that the first thing is that you have to make a plan for you. We plan everything. You plan your career, you plan your day out at work, you plan, stuff for the kids, you plan your vacations. Like, what is going to be your self-care plan? And I think once you can sit down and lay it all out and do it step by step like you do everything else. Like, you can sit down with a paper and say, what's my long-term goal for myself for this year? And I mean, that goes hand in hand with entrepreneurship. What is my goal for the week? What is my goal for the day? What do I want to accomplish for the day? And you and I were talking earlier. You were like, I'm not doing anything before this interview. I'm going to take a nap. That's it. That's your plan for the day. If it wasn't with one thing that you did for yourself today, you got your nap in. And as simple as that was, we were able to recharge, reboot, get yourself on one accord with all the other things that you wanted to do for the day with just that one simple thing you did for yourself. So if there was one tip I could give, is get a plan. And your plan is not going to look like my plan. It's not going to look like his plan. It's not going to look like her plan. I have to do what's best for me. And I need to figure out, how does that look every day? What is that going to look like next week? What is that going to look like next month?
Yes. And I believe that what you just said, that's super powerful, because everyone kind of takes on, you said the word self-care. Everyone takes on the fact that self-care has to look like a certain thing that everybody has decided. It's like somehow we put these these ideas out there, and
Right.
along the marketing world, it only can look like a certain thing. You
Right.
and everybody doesn't like massages. Everybody doesn't like getting manicures and pedicures. Some people, self-care literally is, let me take this nap. You know,
Yes.
for someone, self-care might be going to run 10 miles. For someone else, self-care might be going to yoga class. For someone else, self-care might be, today I'm actually going to go to the library and just
Right.
sit amongst the books and read. Self-care for someone else might be, you know what, there is a lake across town, and I'm going to go sit out at that lake with my turkey sandwich and just be, you know, um, make a little picnic for yourself, get your own little sparkling apple cider and go chill. But that's very important when you say you got to have a plan for your life and a plan for your self-care, because you got to get in tune with, what is my self-care, what is the thing that recharges me and helps me get back to me, and be okay, with allowing yourself the time to do that and the space to do that. Now, when you are a mom, especially when you are a entrepreneur, when you are a person that is a multi-passionate, you have a lot of things that you have to juggle, right?
Right.
So how important is it to ask for help?
My goodness. Listen, because here's the thing, you can't do it all. No
What?
matter how much we try, no matter how bad we want it, you can't. And you were not designed to carry every single thing you take on. And so sometimes we take on too many things. Sometimes it gets to be too much and we have to ask for help. And guess what? You don't know how to do everything. As smart as you think you are, as strong as you think you are, you can't do everything. You don't know how. And we were designed to be able to reach out to one another. That's if you go back to the Bible, he sent people out two by two. He made two people. He put the animals into. We were made to have connections with other people. And so there's going to be pockets in your life and places in your life where there's a void and somebody else was designed to fill it. But here we are trying to fill our bucket all ourselves, trying to do everything. But you have to reach out and you have to ask for help. Like I need help with these kids sometimes. Like I
Right.
need a break sometimes. I'm a fairly new author. I only have two books. Some people have written 10, 15 books. I may need to reach out and figure out, what's your strategy? The big thing now is having a good Instagram and a Facebook social media strategy. I may not, be good in that area. I need to reach out and try to get some information from somebody who knows how to do it better than I can. And so we have to figure out those areas where we may not have the expertise, or we just flat out can't do it because we don't have the time or the resources, and figure out how we can reach out to people emotionally, financially, in every area, spiritually in your life where you just feel this void. You need to be able to reach out and try to get that void filled outside of yourself.
That is awesome. That's awesome because I believe that a lot of folks don't understand that this partnering and this team thing, this collaborating thing, is not just about, oh, I need to do this thing in business. It's no, you need to partner with people to do this thing in life.
In
Uh,
life.
because, somewhere along the line, even when you're multi passionate and you happen to be a Jane of all trades, that's all fine and good. But sometimes, and I had to learn this for myself because I'm the person who's like, but I know how to do that. So, what I had to learn was you might know how to do it. You might know all the different pieces and components of it. It doesn't mean that you're supposed to do it though. Why? Because where it may take you 3 days to design this, for someone else where this is their passion and their love and the thing that they do, it might take them 30 minutes. And they were elevated by doing it, whereas you were depleted by doing it. And I get that sometimes, and I say this often, sometimes there might be a financial barrier. Well, I can't pay, thousands of dollars to get this done, so I have to use my resources. That's fine. But now learn how to connect with other people and say, hey, listen, show me, if you can, show me how to do XYZ and let me put in the hard work to do it so that I can get myself to a level where I'm not the only one doing it. Right. And so I believe that sometimes we miss the mark on because we've always done it ourselves for whatever reason. Now we always have to do it ourselves. And I'm like, you know what? I believe in stimulating the economy. Let me
Right.
somebody else do this because this is their passion and love, and really taking out the I guess it's a stigma again about, well, if I don't do it, then it's not going to get done, or it's not going to get done the right way if I'm not the person that does it. Because sometimes even though it'll get done, some other things won't get done. You know,
Right.
And even the realm of taking care of yourself, sometimes the thing that gets lost is you don't take care of you because you're so busy trying to do the job that everybody else needs to, that somebody else needs to do. So I think that, no matter what, whether it's for women, whether it's parenting, whether it's even in friendship, sometimes we got to know how to stay in our lane and
Right.
back and allow other people to help us. Now, I'm going to ask you a question here.
Come on.
Because we're talking about I choose me. So this one is personal. What was the thing or the things that made you step back and look at all of your relationships, or has it happened? Step back and look at all your relationships and say, okay, you know what? We're about to have some boundaries here. We're going to reestablish some things. We're going to do this a little differently.
Right. You know what? It's actually that's something that comes easy for me.
Mm,
But I know there are so many other people's that it does not come easy for. I am
right.
surrounded by people that it's not easy for. And so I can see where all these lines need to be drawn because it's not healthy. And it drives me bananas because I don't mind drawing a line in the sand. And so I never had that problem. Like I feel like every relationship has a season.
Mhm.
Um, and everybody's not supposed to be around forever,
Right.
and everybody has their place, and everybody's not going to be your BFF. And that one friend that you had, maybe they were your friend 10 years ago, but maybe they're not such a good friend now.
Right.
And so that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to kick everybody to the curb, but we have to know where to set these boundaries at. We
Yeah.
have to know when to say no. We have to know where these people's places should be in our lives and where to keep them. Sometimes we have people misplaced in our lives and they're in the wrong position. And so we're having all these issues in our relationships and we can't figure out what's going wrong.
Right.
Well, you have them over here when they should be over here.
Yeah.
And they're not in the right place. And so that doesn't mean you get rid of them. Maybe you just need to recategorize it and figure out what the boundaries of your situation need to be. Sometimes you're involved with people that are constantly takers. And if you constantly are just giving and someone's constantly taking, you're going to get depleted. You have
Right.
to figure out, what can I do in some of these relationships to make them better? Are your relationships valid? Are they helping you? Are you growing from them? Do you even need this relationship in your life? What are you getting from this? What are they getting from you? If you're not getting anything from them, they're not getting anything from you, and there's no growth in the relationship, then what are we doing? And why are we doing it?
Right. And why are we doing it? And I think that we regularly have to reevaluate our relationships and be okay with the fact that, you know what, it's okay that this one no longer works for me. And let me go ahead and move on. Now, we are down to the wild and fun time. Like I have enjoyed this conversation, and just know we'll be talking even more because I decided that everybody that has come on the show, y'all are my new friends. Like y'all
Yeah.
are my new people, and we're going to do some more things together because I love I like I love the fact that we've all been in such good alignment with what we do. I can't wait to read this book because I'm like, this is I talk about this all the time. Like people need to read this book because they need to understand that it is okay to choose yourself. It is okay to make these lines in the sand, as you said. It is okay to show up for you the way that you show up for other people. And in meaning that, just because we like to go hard for the people we love and we forget to go hard and love us. Um, And so I'm hoping that we're at the beginning stages in this decade of women deciding that it's okay to be a little selfish. That selfish isn't such a bad word. It's not one of those, four-letter words that means I can never be there for anybody else. It just means that in order to be there for everyone else, I've got to, as your title says, I have to choose me. I choose me
Right.
so that I can choose you, you know. Um, so we're on a very important time. We want to get to know some things about you, kind of a little lightning round. Okay.
Okay.
So, what is the last movie that you watched, like all the way through? Not the snippet, not the you just caught the end after, because again, we've been talking about you're a busy mom. So, you're one of those, like most of us, you catch the end one week, and then you catch the beginning another week, and then sometime you catch the middle somewhere in the. So, no, no, no. What's the last movie you actually watched?
Bad Boys. I went to the movie to see Bad Boys, and yeah, Bad Boys.
Yay. So, here's the thing. I know you're a minister, and I know that you care about mental health and self-care and all that. How do you start your day? Is it prayer, meditation? Is it a big old glass of water? Is it, oh God, where's my coffee? Like how?
Ah, well, it is definitely snooze button first because I'm like, can I get 2, 3 more minutes of this? After the snooze button is definitely prayer. And then immediately after that, I'm like trucking it.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So what makes you smile?
What makes me smile? I would definitely have to say just having time for myself. So I love reading. And if I can get a little snippet where I can read or if I can write something, that's going to make me smile. I love to have a pen and a paper. I know some people like the computer, they like to type, but if I can get an old fashioned, just a pen and a paper, I'm good.
So now you're like me. Let me tell you, I at the beginning of the school year every year, I'm the queen of the composition notebook. I have way too many of these things, okay? And
Right.
I journal too, but like you, there's something about getting a good writing pen, a pen that flows really well, and just putting things down on paper. And I can transfer it later on, but just
Right.
initial it coming out of my brain, it has to be pen to paper. It is it
Right.
I understand that, and it's not a weird thing. It's just there are a lot of us out here that need a pen. Like there was a conversation I had with some poet friends of mine back in the day where we were talking about our favorite pens. Like, oh, you like those RSVPs? Well, how do you feel about a mom? Man, you got down over there. Calm down. You know, but it was that thing like, oh well, what about, I remember a few months ago I put a post up. I found some pens at the Dollar Tree of all places, and these pens are amazing, and there's two of them in the pack for $1, and I was like,
Don't sleep on a Dollar Tree.
I'll sleep on the Dollar Tree. I was like, come through Dollar Tree with the little, what is it, the R2 pen?
Yes.
So if you go, the R2 pins, they are amazing. They've got some .5 roller balls and they've got a .7 tip. Listen, amazing. Okay. So reading and writing makes you smile. What is something that you use to empower yourself to keep going?
I would definitely, being true to myself, would definitely have to say reading the Word of God. Like there is no other book. Like
Yeah,
you need that to keep you going, to build you up, to check yourself, because sometimes we're not in the right spot, and that gets you right back in line. So I definitely would say the Bible.
awesome. Do you have a favorite scripture?
My favorite scripture, you know what? There's so many. Um, and my son is definitely coming home from school. I would definitely say my new favorite scripture that I recently, I don't know, I don't think I put my favorite scripture in the book, but I will go to the book because I definitely put some stuff in the book. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. So there's nothing that we can't do. And most recently, a scripture that just basically says, if it's of God, then it's going to work. If it's not of God, it's not going to work. So
That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm excited about the things that you're doing. I'm excited about the fact that you have found the other side of your passion, and you've decided that it's okay to release, um, and let other and help other people in the process, right? Because you could have done like most of us, and we've got these laptops of gold where we've got all this information on there. We've got all these composition notebooks of gold. We've got all this stuff in our head full, and not put it out there into the world. I've told people this year, this is my year of release where I'm putting everything out there, because I found so many things that I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I did that. I didn't know I put that together. Oh wow, that was almost completed. That needs to go out into the world too, because you never know what thing you've got going on that's going to help someone else. So I'm excited that you are actually like, you know what? I'm utilizing my gifts and I'm putting it out there. Right. So
right.
thank you again, Miss Anita Shaw. I appreciate you for answering the call and saying yes and being a part of the setup and telling us how literally you've been set up.
Yes.
Process. And I definitely pray and hope that you continue to smile, that you continue to be empowered and empower others, and that you continue to choose to thrive, because it only helps us be better, and it only helps us make the world better. So for those of you out here that are new to us, that are out here, I hope that you are sharing this show out. I hope that you are allowing others to even be a part of this experience with you, because there's always some really great nuggets. Oh my goodness, the people that have been on this show have had some amazing things to say. But as I usually tell you guys, smile at the person in the mirror, because it does give that person the permission and the empowerment to smile at others around and help make the world a better place. And since I believe that this right here, my smile, is going to launch millions, I know for sure I can't do it without you. So I'm just going to ask one thing. Do me a favor and make today smile worthy. See you guys next week. Bye now.
Bye.